whispers were true. After weeks of trekking through the forgotten jungle, surviving its countless perils, we finally found it. The ancient blue fire altar. It stood in a clearing, carved from a single piece of obsidian-like stone, pulsating with an eerie cerulean light. The air here was thick, heavy with an energy that made the hairs on my arms stand up. The jungle, usually a cacophony of life, was silent. It was as if all of creation was holding its breath in reverence, or perhaps in fear. Atop the altar, resting on a pedestal of intertwining stone roots, was the relic, the heart of the ancients. It wasn't just glowing, it was alive. It throbbed with a slow, rhythmic pulse, like a colossal heart, sending waves of deep blue light washing over us. The light was mesmerizing, beautiful, and utterly terrifying. We stood there, a small band of survivors, awestruck. We had lost so many to get here, all for this. Was it worth it? I wasn't so sure anymore. The relic surface was a swirling nebula of dark sapphire and brilliant cyan, with veins of what looked like liquid starlight pulsing just beneath the surface. It was about the size of a human head, perfectly smooth, yet it seemed to contain an entire universe within its depths. As it pulsed faint, glowing runes would flicker into existence around the altar. Ancient symbols I couldn't decipher, but felt in my very soul. They spoke of immense power, of creation, of destruction. We had all heard the legends that the heart granted unimaginable power to whoever could claim it, that it could remake the world. That was the prize that had driven us, fueled us through starvation and exhaustion. But seeing it now, I felt a primal dread coiling in my gut. This wasn't a prize to be won. It was something else entirely. Something ancient and far beyond our comprehension. Kale was the first to break the spell. He was always the bravest, or maybe the most foolish, among us. I saw the greed, the ambition, glittering in his eyes, reflecting the altar's hypnotic blue light. "It's real," he whispered, his voice hoarse with awe and desire. "Everything we sacrificed. It's all here." Alara, our guide and the keeper of the old lore, tried to stop him. "Kale? No." The legends warn against touching it directly. It is not for mortals to wield. Her voice was a strained whisper, filled with genuine fear. She held up a hand, her face pale. But Kale wasn't listening. He was already stepping forward, his eyes locked on the prize. He was a good man, but the jungle had taken its toll on his reason. He saw the relic not as a sacred object, but as a solution, an end to our suffering, a way to bring back what we'd lost. He pushed past Alara's outstretched arm, his boots crunching softly on the grit-covered stone floor of the clearing. "This is our salvation," he said, more to himself than to us. He reached the altar, his hands trembling as he extended them towards the pulsating heart. The moment his fingertips made contact, the world exploded. A violent, blinding burst of light erupted from the relic. It wasn't blue anymore. It was a searing, pure gold that bleached all color from the world. I was thrown back, my eyes screaming in pain. The sound was a deafening shriek, a tear in the fabric of reality itself. When my vision cleared, the first thing I saw was the altar. The relic was still there, pulsing its calm, rhythmic blue once more, as if nothing had happened. But Kale, Kale was gone. In his place stood a statue, a perfect, life-sized statue of him, captured in the exact moment of his reach. It was made of solid, gleaming gold. His expression was one of shock and awe, forever frozen in metal. His hand was still outstretched, inches from the relic he so desperately coveted. The golden statue shimmered, a beautiful, horrifying monument to his ambition. We stood in stunned silence. The reality of what we had just witnessed was too monstrous to process. Kale, our friend, turned to gold. "Who's like that?" Ilara was on her knees, sobbing quietly. The rest of us could only stare, mouths agape. And that's when we saw him. From the shadows behind the altar, a figure emerged. He was ancient, his skin like wrinkled parchment, his eyes holding the wisdom of millennia. He was clad in simple, dark robes, adorned with the same glowing runes that danced around the altar. He moved with a slow, deliberate grace, ignoring us completely. He approached the altar and knelt before it. He didn't bow to the statue of Kale, but to the relic itself. He placed his forehead against the cold stone of the altar's base in a gesture of absolute submission. As he did, the heart of the ancients pulsed brighter. The mystical energy in the air intensified, the blue light washing over him, and he seemed to draw strength from it. It was then that the horrifying truth dawned on me. This man was the Guardian. But he wasn't guarding the relic from us. He was its servant. The relic was the master. It wasn't a tool to be wielded. It was a consciousness, a power that wielded others. It had chosen its guardian, and it had just dealt with an intruder. Kale wasn't just punished. He was made an example, an offering. The Guardier rose slowly, his gaze still fixed on the relic. He began to chant in a low, guttural language that vibrated through the very ground we stood on. As he chanted, the runes around the altar flared, their light now a menacing crimson. The deep blue of the heart began to swirl with veins of black. A dark, cinematic power filled the clearing. We weren't discoverers who had found a lost treasure. We were insects who had stumbled into a god's throne room. The Guardian finally turned his head, and his ancient eyes met mine. There was no malice in them, no anger. There's only a profound emptiness, the look of it being utterly controlled. He was a puppet, and the relic was the puppet master. He raised a hand, not at us, but in a gesture that seemed to command the jungle itself. The silent trees began to groan, their branches twisting into unnatural shapes. The ground trembled beneath our feet. We knew, in that moment, that the stories had been wrong. This wasn't a place of salvation. It was a place of judgment, and we had been judged. Our quest for power had led us to the feet of a being that fed on it. We had to get out, but as the jungle itself began to close in around us, I realized the altar was not just the destination. It was a trap, and it had just been sprung. Our fight for survival was far from over. It had only just entered its most terrifying chapter. Thanks for watching our story unfold. If you're captivated by this dark fantasy, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss what happens next. Leave a comment below with your theories on the relics. True Purpose. We'll see you in the next episode.